about the IPA, which stands for the International Phonetic Alphabet. What is the IPA actually? The IPA is a system of phonetic notation which is used to indicate pronunciation of the words. Do we need the IPA? When I was preparing this video, I was searching for some sources, for some articles about the IPA, and one title struck me, which was the IPA, my friend or my foe? So yes, there are some people who love the IPA and there are people who hate it. Why? I think that one of the obvious obstacles why some people don't like the IPA is just that it's another alphabet that we have to learn to succeed in language learning. Of course, it's not a must. You don't have to know the IPA to be fluent, to communicate with people, to speak very good English or other language, but it helps and it may bring really big progress and development in your language learning. Why the IPA is worth learning? First reason is that every language has different sounds. Sometimes they are similar, but some features of those sounds are different. You have to realize that the IPA is not only an alphabet, it's also a very wide description of particular sounds, which helps us to place those sounds in our mouth to produce sounds as close to the native ones as possible. We have all those features distinguished, so we know how to pronounce the sound, what is place of articulation, what is manner of articulation. Polish and English are a very good example because although it seems that we have similar sounds, for example we have some similar consonants, they actually are very different. For example, s and z, although they are in both languages, in Polish, s and z are pronounced using our teeth, and they're called dentals. And in English they are alveolar, so the place of articulation is different. There are also some sounds in different languages that, although are represented by very similar or even the same graphic signs, they sound different and they have more phonetic variations, and we can pronounce them in a couple of different ways. In Polish, for example, we have more consonants, but we have fewer vowels. So we are used to that, for example, letter A stands for A. And we may be not aware that in other languages this A may be represented by various sounds, like for example short A, long A, and some Polish speakers don't know this difference because they don't know the IPA. So basically the International Phonetic Alphabet makes us very aware of difference between the languages, of phonetic differences between the sounds, and it makes us aware about those foreign sounds that do not exist in our native language. There is also another example with consonants, for example th, which may be pronounced as the or th, and those sounds are also a very big problem for Polish native speakers because they just cannot produce those sounds very easily. But if you know the IPA, you are aware that it's not the, it's not t, it's not f, but it's the or th. It's a distinctive, different sound that you have to acquire, that you have to learn how to pronounce. Some sounds cannot be described by means of our native sounds, which is sometimes used in some handbooks where sounds are described in a way like, for example, English ash is something between Polish a and e. And I'm really against this attitude because, as I said, it's impossible to describe foreign sounds by means of our native language sounds. We should also remember that the IPA helps us to learn new vocabulary. I think that we know the vocabulary item only if we know its pronunciation, its translation, we know how to use it, we know how to conjugate, for example. Then we may say that we acquired this word and that we can use it actively. The IPA helps us to do it because it provides the pronunciation, and it also provides other information like how to divide the word into syllables. It shows us where we should stress the word, because as we know, different stress may sometimes change the meaning completely. So it is very important to pay attention to those features which are described by the IPA. And of course, every good dictionary uses the IPA. So if you learn some new words, you may need the IPA just not to guess the pronunciation, but to be sure about it, because you know the IPA, you may check it, you may write it in your notebook. Okay, now you can ask me how to learn the IPA. As I said, it's a separate alphabet, so you should just treat it like another set of letters that you have to acquire, that you have to remember, memorize. There are some websites. For example, there is a website where you can play the memory game, or there is some even more fun stuff. So if you want to learn the IPA, it's not very difficult. You can do it right now. Of course, you have to practice later, but it's very useful, so you will benefit from it for sure. That is all for today. I hope you liked my video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe my channel, and see you next time.